When you're truly about that life, when you're really grinding, sacrificing, and locked in on your goals, you don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to make announcements or convince anyone of your vision. Because real hustle doesn't come with noise. It comes with presence. It comes with action. The people who are making the biggest moves aren't the loudest in the room. They're the ones too focused to even notice the room. They're not talking about success. They're walking it out, step by step, day by day, in silence. They understand that the real ones recognize real work, and the world will catch up to what they've been building in the dark. See, there's a power in silence that most people don't understand. We live in a time where everyone wants to be seen, where everyone wants to post their progress, their wins, their grind. But here's the truth. When your work is real, it doesn't need a spotlight. It creates its own. When your effort is genuine, when your grind is rooted in discipline and consistency, it naturally demands attention. Not because you scream for it, but because you earned it. People may not notice you at first, but over time, your results will speak so loudly that they can't be ignored. Too many people are addicted to validation. They're more focused on getting credit than doing the actual work. They want likes before they want legacy. But here's the truth. The ones who last, the ones who build something meaningful, are the ones who put their heads down and grind even when no one is watching. They understand that the applause will come eventually, but the foundation must come first. And foundations are built in silence, away from the cameras, away from the crowd. When you wake up early while others sleep, your hustle is talking. When you choose the gym over the party, your hustle is talking. When you study while others are distracted, your hustle is talking. And what it's saying is this: I'm committed, I'm disciplined, I'm not like the rest. Every time you show up when it's hard, every time you push yourself when it would be easier to quit, your hustle is saying something about who you are. It's forming a reputation. It's building a legacy. And it's doing it without you having to say a word. Let them doubt you. Let them misunderstand your silence. Let them think you got nothing going on. Because in time, your consistency will break the silence with undeniable proof. The people who question you will start asking you for advice. The ones who ignored you will wonder how you did it. But by then, you won't have to answer them with words, because your results will speak for you. The business you built, the skills you mastered, the goals you crushed, that's your response. You don't have to beg for respect when your hustle demands it. And respect that's earned through action is always stronger than respect that's forced through words. The person who's all talk might get attention for a season, but the one who's all work builds impact for a lifetime. Don't get caught up in trying to prove yourself with noise. Prove yourself with discipline, with effort, with consistency, because that kind of proof can't be denied and it can't be faked. The reason silence is so powerful is because it allows you to focus. When you're not worried about what everyone thinks, when you're not caught up in the need to explain or impress, you're free to give all your energy to the mission. That focus compounds over time and sharpens your skills. It toughens your mindset. And that's where real growth happens. Not in the spotlight, not on the stage, but in the quiet, in the grind, in the shadows where champions are built. Every time you stay disciplined, every time you choose purpose over pleasure, your hustle's telling a story. It's telling the world who you are. And the best part is you don't need to narrate it. The work speaks for itself. The transformation, the results, the wins, they become the voice of your hustle. And that voice is more authentic, more powerful, more believable than anything you can say out loud. So stop trying to explain why you're not out every weekend. Stop trying to justify why you're grinding while others are relaxing. You don't owe anyone an explanation. Just keep working. Keep showing up. Keep proving it to yourself first. Because the people who really matter, the ones who understand greatness, they'll hear your hustle loud and clear, even if you never say a word. And when they finally hear it, when they finally see what you've been building, they'll realize you were never silent. You were just speaking a different language, the language of action. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that talent is everything, that some people are born with the gift and that's why they win. But that's not the truth. The real separator, the thing that defines the winners from the almost, is consistency. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you're not showing up every single day, that talent becomes wasted potential. On the other hand, someone with average skills, But relentless consistency will eventually pass up someone who was naturally gifted, but didn't put in the work. Because consistency is a force. It's a commitment. It's a way of life. When you show up day after day, when you keep putting in reps, even when no one's watching, you build something that can't be bought or faked. You build trust with yourself. You build habits that don't depend on how you feel. You build character that doesn't crack under pressure. And that consistency, that rhythm, is what starts to separate you. It becomes your voice. People might not understand you at first. They might overlook you. But over time, they start to notice the pattern. They start to see you're always there, always grinding, always growing. And that's when your hustle starts speaking for you. Consistency speaks louder than a great performance here or there. You don't win because you had a good day. You win because you stack good days. Because even on your bad days, you find a way to stay locked in. That's what champions do. They show up when it's easy, and they show up when it's not. They don't let their emotions make the decision. They don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline. That discipline practiced consistently turns into momentum. And that momentum becomes a force that pushes you through setbacks, distractions, and fatigue. The reason consistency is so powerful is because it builds credibility. You can't fake showing up every day. You can't fake doing the work when no one's clapping. When people see you putting in the effort over time, they start to trust your grind. They start to believe in your drive. And you begin to create a reputation. Not one based on hype, but one based on reliability. Your name starts to mean something, not because you're the loudest, but because you're the most dependable. You don't just talk about it, you live it, day in, day out. That's the problem with relying on talent alone. Talent might get you noticed once, but consistency keeps you in the game. Consistency gets you results, and results can't be denied. When you stay in the gym, stay in the books, stay grinding on your craft. Even when the spotlight's not on you, you're laying bricks. Every day, another brick. It might not look like much in the moment, but keep laying them, one by one. Eventually, you build something strong, something real, something no one can take away. And when people see what you built, they'll ask how you did it. And the answer will be simple. Well, I didn't quit. I kept showing up. People want fast results. They want success without the grind. But what they don't realize is that success comes from thousands of invisible actions. It's the late nights, the early morning, the hours of repetition, the sacrifices made when no one was watching. And those aren't glamorous. They don't get posted. But they're what make the difference. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, every time you work instead of making excuses, you're giving your hustle a louder voice. You're telling the world, I'm in this for real. When you commit to consistency, you change your identity. You stop being someone who tries and start being someone who does. You stop being a person with potential and start being a person with results. And that shift is massive because potential fades, but consistency compounds. It builds on itself. The more you do the right things, the easier it becomes to keep doing them. It's like building a rhythm, a beat that keeps playing. And before long, that beat becomes your soundtrack. It becomes the background music to your grind. The song that says, this is who I am. The world is watching. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually they're going to hear what your hustle has been saying all along. They're going to see what you've been building while they were sleeping. They're going to notice the way you've elevated, slowly but surely, step by step. You don't have to shout it. You don't have to sell it. Just keep showing up. Keep putting in the work. Because when consistency becomes your identity, your grind will always speak louder than your words. There's a sound to pain. Anyone who's gone through real struggle knows it. It's the silent moments when tears fall, the late nights when everything feels heavy, the mornings when you don't even want to get out of bed. That's pain talking. It has a way of getting into your soul, weighing on your chest, reminding you of everything you've lost, everything that didn't go your way. But in the middle of that pain, there's another sound, one that's quieter but more powerful. It's the sound of purpose. It doesn't scream like pain does, but it doesn't go away either. It whispers to you when you're about to give up. It tells you to keep going. It tells you to keep going. It tells you that everything you're going through is building something inside of you that pain alone never could. Most people think pain is the end, but in reality, it's often the beginning. It's where transformation starts. Because when you're in pain, you got two choices: sit in it or push through it. That's when purpose starts to speak. It doesn't take the pain away, but it gives it meaning. It tells you that what you're going through isn't just breaking you, it's shaping you. And when you begin to see your struggle as a part of the process instead of the end of the story, everything changes. You stop running from it and you start listening to it, because that pain, it's telling you what matters. It's showing you what you care about, and it's revealing your capacity to endure. Hustle born out of comfort is fragile, but hustle born out of pain, that's unshakable, because when you've been through something, when you walk through fire, you move differently. You stop being afraid of hard work. You stop being scared of failure, because you've already been in the trenches. You've already had your back against the wall. So now, when you hustle, you do it with urgency. You do it with hunger. You do it like it's your only shot, because you remember what it felt like to have nothing. That kind of hustle makes noise. Not the kind you hear with your ears, but the kind that's felt. The kind that shifts rooms. The kind that gets attention without even trying. People look at the successful and think they just had it easier, but what they don't see are the nights they cried themselves to sleep, the jobs they lost, the people who walked away, the rejections, the rock bottoms. They don't see how many times that person wanted to quit but did. And that's where purpose speaks louder than pain. It's in the decision to show up one more time, to try again, to rise even when it hurts, because deep down there's a fire. A voice that says, this isn't how the story ends. There's beauty in rising through pain. Because when you come out the other side, you carry something with you, a strength, a resilience, a power that can't be taught in comfort. You've earned it. You've bled for it. And now when you walk into a room, your presence says more than your words ever could. Your grind carries the weight of your story. Your actions are fueled by everything you've endured. And that's the voice of your hustle. That's the language of the battle, Ted. Pain also has a way of clearing out the noise. When you've been through enough, you stop worrying about what other people think. You stop chasing approval, because your hustle isn't for show anymore. It's survival, it's purpose, it's mission. And that mission doesn't care about opinions. That mission has one goal: to rise. So you hustle even when it hurts. You work even when it's heavy. You keep going, not because it's easy, but because quitting is not an option. You've been too far down to go back there again. You've cried too many tears to waste the opportunity now. What makes your hustle powerful isn't just your ambition. It's your story. It's the setbacks you turned into comebacks. It's the nights you thought were the end, but turned out to be the beginning. Every scar, every disappointment, every betrayal, it all built you. It all gave your hustle a voice. And now that voice speaks through your discipline, through your work ethic, through your attitude. You don't need to convince people to believe in you. You just need to keep showing up. Because the pain that once silenced you is now the fuel that drives you. Purpose is what gives pain direction. It doesn't remove the weight, but it teaches you how to carry it. And over time, what once felt like a burden becomes your reason. The thing that tried to break you becomes the thing that built your fire. And that fire burns in your hustle. It shows in the way you grind when no one's clapping. In the way you push when your legs feel heavy. In the way you work with your whole soul, because you remember how dark it was before the light came. Your hustle has a voice, and if you've been through pain, that voice is powerful. It's not desperate. It's not loud. It's steady. It's real. It says, I've been there. I've survived, and I'm not stopping now. Hustle isn't just about working hard. It's about what that hard work attracts over time. When you put in the effort day in and day out, when you sacrifice sleep, comfort, and distractions for your goals, you start sending out a signal. That signal might not be visible to everyone right away, but it's out there. The universe hears it. The people around you feel it. Opportunities begin to shift in your direction. Not because you ask for them, not because you beg for recognition, but because your consistent hustle has a frequency that can't be ignored. The right doors begin to open. The right people begin to notice. And it all happens because your grind speaks before you do. In a world full of people faking it, posting it, and pretending they made it, real hustle cuts through the noise. It's undeniable. It's magnetic. You don't have to advertise it or shout about it. When you work with passion, discipline, and focus, that energy builds momentum. And momentum brings results. Results bring confidence. Confidence builds presence. And that presence attracts respect, resources, and recognition. Not because you chase those things, but because you became the kind of person that draws them in naturally. That's what hustle does when it's real. It creates gravity. Think about every moment you choose to push through when you're tired. Every hour you put into your craft while others are distracted. Every time you stay up working instead of taking it easy, you're making deposits. You're laying bricks. You're building value. And eventually that value turns into opportunity. Maybe it's the phone call you didn't expect. Maybe it's someone reaching out who's been watching your journey quietly. Maybe it's a chance to do something you never thought you'd be asked to do. But it all traces back to your effort. That unseen, uncelebrated grind becomes the foundation for everything that follows. When people say success comes from who you know, they're only telling half the story. Because who you know won't matter if they don't believe in what you bring to the table. And they won't believe in you unless your work proves your worth. Your hustle is your introduction. It speaks louder than any resume will pitch. When someone sees you constantly improving, staying consistent, and delivering results, they trust you. And that trust turns into opportunity. People want to align themselves with winners. They want to be around someone who's clearly going somewhere. When your hustle shows that you're serious, focused, and not playing around, you become someone others want to invest in. It's not just about big wins either. Sometimes it's the small, quiet decisions that make the biggest impact. Like choosing to keep your word when it's inconvenient. Like showing up early even when no one notices. Like taking pride in the smallest tasks. Because you understand that how you do anything is how you do everything. Those little moments add up. They create your brand. They define your standard. And that standard sets you apart. It lets people know you're not average. That you're not just talking about it, you're living it. Every time you give your best, even when no one's watching, you're building equity in yourself. That equity pays off. It might not show immediately. You might not get rewarded right away, but there's always someone watching. And more importantly, you're watching yourself. You're building a mindset that expects results because you know you've earned them. That self-belief becomes unshakable. And that energy is powerful. It changes how you walk into rooms, how you speak, how you lead. And people feel that. That's what gets you noticed. That's what attracts next level opportunity. There's no shortcut to this. You can't fake the kind of respect that comes from real hustle. You can't buy the kind of credibility that comes from consistent effort. You have to earn it. Day by day, sweat by sweat, sacrifice by sacrifice, by sacrifice. But if you stay in it long enough, if you stay locked in even when it's slow or frustrating or lonely, everything you've been working for will start moving towards you. Not all at once, not in the way you might expect, but it will come. Because hustle doesn't just build skill, it builds alignments. It puts you in the right position to receive what matches your energy. People often ask why things aren't happening for them. But the better question is, what are you putting out there? Are you sending signals of laziness, inconsistency, or excuses? Or are you sending signals of excellence, discipline, and drive? Because the world mirrors what you do. And if you stay committed to high standards, if you put in the kind of effort that most won't, you will start to attract what most never will. That's not luck. That's not luck. That's earned alignment. You can't control everything, but you can control how you show up. Most people want to be remembered, but few people live in a way that makes them unforgettable. They want a legacy, but they're not willing to put in the work that legacy demands. Legacy doesn't come from moments of hype or bursts of motivation. It's not built on claps, likes, or followers. Legacy is built in silence, in struggle, in commitment, in discipline. And most importantly, legacy doesn't shout. It echoes. It lingers long after you're gone. It's the voice of your hustle ringing out through the impact you left behind. Every action you take, every decision you make, every time you show up with consistency, your hustle is writing a story. And that story won't need a narrator because the results will speak forever. When you're grinding day after day, not for attention, but because you're obsessed with being the best version of yourself, that energy compounds. You're not just building success, you're building a reputation. You're becoming the kind of person people remember not just for what you did, but for how you did it. Your character, your commitment, your hunger. These are the things people never forget. That's legacy, and it starts with what you do when no one's watching. It's easy to perform when there's a crowd, when people are cheering you on, clapping for your wins, praising your progress. Of course, you'll show up. But legacy isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the shadows. It's built when you stay after everyone else has left. When you're putting in hours no one will ever see. When you're exhausted but still pushing, frustrated but still focused, disappointed but still determined. That's when legacy is born. In decisions that nobody sees, but everyone feels later. You have to ask yourself, what do you want your name to mean when you're not in the room? What do you want people to say about you when you're no longer around to defend or define yourself? Your hustle answers those questions before you do. If you grind with integrity, if you work like everything you touch matters, your name becomes bigger than your presence. It becomes a symbol, a standard, a message to everyone coming behind you that this is what excellence looks like. You become the proof that greatness isn't about being loud. It's about being consistent, being excellent, being undeniable. The truth is, most people are chasing applause, but the ones who build legacy are chasing purpose. They don't care if anyone sees them in the moment because they know the echoes of their effort will last forever. They don't hustle for a season. They hustle for impact. Impact lasts. Think about it. Years from now, people might not remember the exact words you said or the specific things you posted, but they'll remember how you moved. They'll remember the way you showed up, the level you held yourself to, the way you carried yourself with discipline and passion. That memory, that feeling you left behind, that's your legacy speaking. Every morning you wake up early and grind, you're creating another echo. Every time you hold yourself to a high standard, even when it's uncomfortable, you're carving out another piece of that legacy. You may not see the results immediately. You may not feel the recognition right away, but the impact is stacking. The seeds are being planted. And one day when someone steps into a room, so walk through, your presence will still be felt because of the energy you left behind. The culture you set, the work you did, the example you gave, don't underestimate the power of your consistency. That one decision to go harder today, while it might not seem like much, can create a ripple that changes someone else's life. Because legacy isn't always about fame or fortune. Sometimes legacy is about influence. It's about making it possible for someone else to believe. It's about showing the next person what's possible when you refuse to quit, when you choose excellence over excuses, when you let your hustle speak instead of your mouth. Wow. Your grind gives people permission to rise. And that's the kind of voice that doesn't fade away. It grows stronger with time. The powerful thing about legacy is that it multiplies. It doesn't stop with you. It continues in the people you impacted, in the standards you set, in the systems you built, in the lives you touched. But none of that happens if your hustle is shallow, short-term, or self-centered. You have to build with the end in mind. You have to hustle like your children will inherit your work ethic. Like your community will remember how you carried yourself. Like your name will live beyond your time, because it will. And the way you work today will decide how loud your legacy speaks tomorrow. So the question is not whether your hustle has a voice. It absolutely does. The question is, what is it saying? What is it echoing into the future? What story will it tell when you're no longer here to tell it yourself? That's why you have to grind with intention.